Good evening and good afternoon. We're pre-recording this show. I'm Terri Wisdom, and this is Harlem Network News. As many of you know, Harlem Network News is a new media platform, and we started at the onset of COVID, and we're still here. And my background is in film and television, and we've had this vision for Harlem Network News for a while. But once COVID started, we really had to just jump in the deep water and swim. When we found that Black people were walking around Harlem saying, "I'm Black, I can't get it," I knew that it was really critical and important to make sure that folks were informed. And we're still here. We are the voice and the drumbeat of Harlem and the Harlems of the world. We are very excited. It's been a great time for Harlem Network News. We've had several wins. We were very instrumental in helping to bring our sister Brittany Griner home. We were at the Harlem Week, signing petitions and letters of support that went directly to the Russian embassy and President Putin. Whoever passed through Harlem Week gave testimonies, and alas, our sister Brittany Griner is home. We also were involved in the naming of the gate of the exonerated 5, which happened this week. I was on the task force, did the rundown for the show, and it was just an amazing time of folks coming together and actually coming to fruition. So very, very, very powerful time. And now here we are in the season of Kwanzaa. And Kwanzaa is really an African-American holiday that was developed by Dr. Maulana Karenga. And Kwanzaa is 56 years old. And Dr. Karenga is still right here with us. If you go to Harlem Network News YouTube channel, you can hear an incredible Kwanzaa message, his message for 2022. He is the head of the African Studies Department at Cal State at Long Beach, and also the head of Kawaida, which are organizations around the world, and us. But here we are in Harlem, and we are getting ready for the Forces of Nature Regeneration Night at the incredible Apollo Theater. And I have a sister here with me. I've had the honor to have been chosen to be an elder in the program, which will take place at the Apollo Theater tomorrow, Friday, the 30th at 7:30. And Harlem Network News and myself and the person of Terri Wisdom, I have the honor of being chosen to be an elder. I have this sister here who is with the Brooklyn Brewed Sorrel Nzinga Knight, and I'm going to have her introduce herself. She will also be serving as an elder, and we'll come back to what that means. And we want to salute and give kudos to the Forces of Nature team, Abdel Salaam, who is the director, Baba Abdel Salaam, as well as our great sister, Diane Harvey Salaam, who is the creative director. So power, power, power. So Nzinga, if you would just say hi to our Harlem Network News audience and tell us who you are and who's you. Thank you.
Hi, and assalamu alaikum, Harlem News Network. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for introducing me, having me on. So I am the owner of Brooklyn Brewed Sorrel, the founder of Brooklyn Brewed Sorrel, which is a non-alcoholic cocktail, and sorrel is a drink that comes from the Caribbean by way of West Africa. So I preserve this drink, this African and Caribbean tradition through preserving it, through packaging it and making it readily available to people so they can order at brooklynbrewedsorrel.com and pick it up at stores, the many stores that sell it around the country. We're available at over 400 stores and restaurants, as well as some large gift boxes. So I do that, as well as I am an award-winning fashion designer. I design modest fashion, and I was the first hijabi on Project Runway. I've shown at New York Fashion Week, at Lincoln Center, and I've, also sold my designs internationally. So Diane, Harvey, Salaam, happens to be one of my repeat customers, who orders online, and I had never met her until just a week ago. And when she emailed me saying that she would love for me to serve as an esteemed elder at this wonderful occasion, the Kwanzaa festival, I had to get back to her and say, I just want to make sure because I'm 41, like I was like, I want to make sure I'm not old,
You've come into the age of wisdom.
I've come into the age of wisdom.
40 is once you hit 40, you're now into the age of wisdom, and you're responsible for it.
I am. And you know what? And I also let her know, and I think one of the reasons why she knows, knew enough about me to think so well of me to have me be a part of this is because we send out regular newsletters. We send out newsletters a few times a week, sometimes every day, like during Kwanzaa, we send it out for every single day of Kwanzaa. We talk about the principle of Kwanzaa, and we connect it to our purpose, like why Brooklyn Brewed Sorrel is here, to different stories from our customers, our community. And so she's gotten to know me through our words.
Okay.
Yes. And I also let her know that when I was 12 years old, I went through rites of passage. So this feels wonderful to me to be involved in something in which we have a ritual for the youth, so that a moment is marked in time for them in which they were seen in front of their community and for their talents, for who they are, and told and given a responsibility to be a positive member of their community. Just like I took that oath. I literally posted on social media the other day the document that I signed with my mentor, who took me through rites of passage when I was 12 years old, saying, I promise to be a positive member of my community. I promise to this, from this day forth, I am responsible.
This is, for those of you who are just joining, I'm Terri Wisdom, and this is Harlem Network News. And of course, this week, we're all about Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa is an African-American holiday that is started by Dr. Maulana Karenga. It is not a religious holiday. There are 7 principles of Kwanzaa, and the first day of Kwanzaa is the 26th, always, the day after Christmas. And there are 7 incredible principles, and we're going to kind of go to that in a little bit. But we're here with Nzinga Knight, and she and I have the honor to be elders at the Kwanzaa program at the Apollo Theater with Forces of Nature. So you were saying a little bit about the fact that you have gone through a rites of passage. Where, if you don't mind, was the rites of passage? And please inform our audience, what is a rite of passage?
Yes. So just to give a little background, so my rites of passage mentor, the woman who led me and 15 other young women through rites of passage, was my 5th grade teacher.
Oh, beautiful. Her
name is Barbara Gathers. She was my 5th grade teacher. She was the most impactful teacher I've had in life, in my entire life. Wonderful. And after graduation, she selected 16 of her female students to be a part, and she invited us to be a part of her African Womanhood is Mine rites of passage group, with the understanding that for a year we would go through African womanhood training.
Okay, I love it. Very, very important, very significant. And I do want to say, and this is Harlem Network News, I'm Terri Wisdom. Kwanzaa really is a 7-day celebration, and there are 7 principles. And you can also go to the original Kwanzaa.com website, which is Dr. Maulana Karenga's website, and really get, deep insight into why and how he created it. He was very specific. But the first principle of Kwanzaa is Umoja, and that stands for unity. And there is a Panara, and each day we light a candle. 1 candle is black, and 3 candles are green, and 3 candles are red. And the black candle stands for the people, the Black people. And the red stands for the blood of the people, and the green stands for the. So it's a very empowering, and we celebrate it each day. And there are fruits and a mat, and all of the words that highlight things of Kwanzaa, are coming from African language, universal African language. So it's very, very, very empowering. So Umoja is unity, and that is always the 26th. And it's the African language is Swahili, and that's spoken across Africa. It's kind of a universal language. Like if you're trading and you go and people speak another language, most people will speak Swahili. So, it's a used language. The second principle of Kwanzaa is Kujichagulia, and that is self-determination. The third principle of Kwanzaa is Ujaama, which is collective work and responsibility. And we celebrated that principle yesterday, and I had a Kwanzaa celebration at my house, which was wonderful, with family and friends, and we had some wonderful Kwanzaa activities. But today is Ujaama. So it's very befitting that I'm here with Sister Nzinga, and she's going to talk about her business, Cooperative Economics, how we can really work collectively. So, there's no irony that we're doing that today. And then tomorrow is Mia, which is purpose. And then on Friday, we are having, tomorrow is Friday, Mia, purpose tomorrow. And then Saturday is Kalumba, which is creativity. And then the New Year's Day is Imani. That's the last day, and that's faith. And really the ask is from Dr. Karenga for us to really incorporate these principles in our life and celebrate Kwanzaa all year long. Very, very incredible. And as we're going to be at the Apollo, we're going to be on the stage. I mean, this is a magical place. This is a place in Black history and world history. If you say Harlem, people know Apollo, Amateur Night. Many of the greats got their start there. So we are going to be on sacred ground. But I have been a follower, a member, taking dance classes with Forces of Nature, and they are one of the most formidable dance companies in the world. And now Baba Abdel Salaam has taken over the band, Brooklyn Academy of Music, Dance Africa. He is the director, an amazing choreographer, coming out of Harlem, went to music and art, Lehman College. Diane, Harvey, Salaam, teachers in colleges. She's taught at Lehman. I think she came out of ballet and so long legacy, long history. These are powerful people that have carried the torch for culture. So, systems, if you want to just share a little bit about your feelings in terms of being chosen as an elder, your connection, and then please, as we are on that day of Ujaama, tell us a little bit about your business and how you developed it. Mm-hmm. And I know that you're helping others to develop business as well. So please share. Thank you. Yes.
Well, I feel like honored for sure to be a part of this Kwanzaa celebration and be able to just be a part of a production by forces of nature for sure.
Yes.
And even get a behind the scenes glimpse a bit of like their choreography, you know, just and all of what they mean for dance, just to be a part of that and to present on the Apollo stage in front of so many people who are seeking to have cultural and spiritual nourishment on that day. So I feel empowered and I feel, you know, like I'm blessed to be empowering in that way and in community with other men and women like yourself and children. It's wonderful. And, you know, the principle of Ujaama Cooperative Economics is something that I fully embrace and I love, and my community embraces as well. I grew up in a community whose motto is do for self. And that meant that we as a community do for ourselves, Black people. That's basically the slogan of Black Muslims who came out of Nation of Islam, whether you went with Waradi Muhammad or you went with the Farrakhan community. So I grew up with those words spoken just about every Friday sermon, do for self. And so I feel like I got an early start in an early seed was planted to be an entrepreneur, and that my community was behind me. That was my master community when they let me sell, you know, after Juma, you know, or when I you know, started different businesses, then I knew that it was okay to reach out to people in my community and that they would support me with, you know, in fashion. I started my own sponsorship with my own grant, you know, is when I wanted to do my first collection. And when I did my second collection, I had people sponsor dresses. And then with Brooklyn Brewed Sorrel, you know, if we needed to raise money for production or that sort of thing, since my business is so far, for the most part, bootstrap, we'll have investors next year, inshallah, then I would reach out to my community of past customers, and they would order in advance so that we could like do a larger production. So that idea of cooperative economics has always been very present. And even to the point of, we have this ongoing program within my business called Buy Give, in which we donate to different causes and people in need. Like we typically do it in a very direct way. So like during COVID, we paired up with restaurants and we delivered food directly to people who would sign up on the website saying that they needed food, you know, and then we would have volunteers sign up. And now we have one in which we're supporting a young family that has an autistic child that needs care. And so we always just like gather the community, that cooperative economics, that idea that to whom much is given, much is expected, and either you can give or you need to receive. And so that's kind of like how we play it, and how the people who we've been blessed to attract as customers in our community operate as well.
Wow. And I understand this is Harlem Network News, and I'm Terri Wisdom, and we're here really talking about Kwanzaa, living Kwanzaa, as today is the Cooperative Economics Day, Ujaama, and both of us are business people. I'm doing Harlem Network News, and I'm very committed to our community being informed. I'm very committed to speaking truth to power, and really taking Harlem Network News to the next level to assure that we are telling our own stories. So we're on this same frequency But your main product right now is the Brooklyn Brewed Sorrel. Can you tell us a little bit about what sorrel is? I don't know that everyone knows, and what the value of it is. Is there like a health value, or is it just like a healthy drink? Please share a little bit about sorrel. I know it's coming from Caribbean and African places for the most part. So thank you.
For sure. Thank you for asking. So, many African peoples from the diaspora have been told that we lost our culture during the transatlantic slave trade, right? Like we've been told our culture was stolen from us, our foods, our language, all of these things. But there are things from our culture that we kept, or we transformed, or things that we may be so familiar with that we never questioned where it came from, right? And sorrel is one of those things that I grew up with, and many Caribbean people grew, and many people even in New York, where we have such a blended melting pot of a culture that
Absolutely.
you taste each other's food.
Absolutely.
Right? So we know sorrel from being so cosmopolitan,
and,
right?
And I think in some places in Africa, they call it bisa. So
that's exactly it, right?
Yes,
and
yes.
So that's the thing. I grew up knowing sorrel as a Caribbean drink that, Trinidadian people, Jamaican people, Bayesian people drink, and that's what I knew of it. And then as I got older and I started tasting Senegalese food, and that became like my second favorite cuisine.
Okay.
Then I would also order bisap when I was at the restaurant. I thought, oh, this is similar to sorrel, right? But it was only when I created this product for the first time in 2015 and would sell it at different festivals and pop-ups that I would have a customer who was Nigerian come up to me and say, oh, this is Zobo,
Okay,
and then a Senegalese person would say, oh, this is bisap. And then somebody who's familiar, and then even somebody like a Mexican person, they may try it and they might say, oh, this is Jamaica,
Okay.
And,
Yes.
and then I started putting it together. Okay, one, Jamaica is them saying Jamaica, because you don't pronounce the J. It's
Okay.
like, well, Jamaicans, like, you don't pronounce the J with
Right.
in Spanish, right? Like Jose is Jose, right? But it goes H instead of the J, right? So they go Jamaica. So remove the H, put the J. They're saying Jamaica, and what they're saying is this is the
I love it.
this is the Jamaican drink. This is what the Jamaicans drink and brought over here to Mexico, right? And then you realize, like, oh, that Zobo from Nigeria and bisap from Senegal are basically like the same thing, right? And
what plant or fruit is sorrel coming from?
Yeah,
so we know, and where does it grow?
The base of it, and what gives it this red color that you see here, this is Brooklyn Brewed Sorrel, is the hibiscus flower. And so that's where it comes from, and the base of it is hibiscus, and then different cultures throughout the Caribbean will add a varying amount of ginger, right? So that's typically the second prevalent ingredient, but some Caribbean cultures add very little ginger. Trinidadian culture is not a requirement. Jamaicans, they love a lot of ginger, and then we'll add like other spices like cloves, cinnamon, allspice, bay leaves. Add orange peel. Some cultures might even add lemon or pineapple. And so like as I would sell this drink and people would call it by the name they knew it by, then I realized, oh, okay, like the story, what's really happening here is that we have this Pan-African drink. You know,
Okay,
we
I love
have
it.
this drink that, you know, for instance, you know, when I introduce myself tomorrow on the Apollo stage, then I'm going to mention the earliest ancestor that I know of, which is a woman named, let me not forget her name, which is a woman named, I think is it Maribel, and then Manuel, and they
Uh-huh.
came over from the Congo. He came in, he was African Igbo, came
Okay,
over in about 1790 to Trinidad.
beautiful.
She was Congolese, brought over around the same time. I know about them from their slave records, you know, and you know, so they came from Nigeria and the Congo, right? And so these people come to the Caribbean, and in the Caribbean, we grow hibiscus, just like they had hibiscus over there, right? So what would you do if you're coming from one place to another place? You always want to eat you want to eat your food. You find if it's
Familiar, but
available,
you
you're going to
know,
make it.
food is
But
culture.
food is culture, and we're in the Caribbean is the spice island. So that's why the drink then became more spiced than what would happen over there. And so this is one of the things that we as Black people preserve through our culture. And it's very obvious, as well as I learned more about this drink culturally, because you know, Trinidad has just as much or even a little bit more Indian people than African people, but
Yes.
sorrel is not the drink that Indian people tend to make. It's just the African people of the Caribbean
Make the sorrow.
make
Okay.
it. Same thing in Guyana. So I'm really happy to preserve this cultural tradition, this family tradition. And so it serves that purpose of preserving a cultural legacy, and it also serves a purpose of helping people live an exciting, sober life and lifestyle.
Okay. Thank you, because you call it a mocktail. So that's very special. And are there any, I'm Terri Wisdom, this is Harlem Network News, and it's Kwanzaa. Hey, this is Kwanzaa all week long. And we are preparing ourselves and centering ourselves for the incredible Regeneration Night at the Apollo Theater with Abdel, Baba Abdel Salaam, and Mama Diane Harvey Salaam. It's an amazing, I think they're one of the most formidable dance companies in the country. And they have been doing the Kwanzaa program for a very long time. It's about 17 years, I believe, at the Apollo Theater. But prior to that, they were at the Museum of Natural History. So it's a long road, and we're all excited about it, and we want more people to know about this. And I don't know, there may be very few tickets left, but you can try, you can get out there. This is Harlem, and you know how we do. So what I'm going to do, I'm gonna share my screen, and I'm looking to just play a little clip from the Apollo Theater that is about Kwanzaa. So let's see if we can really and truly make this happen. I'm not sure. Let's see. Okay. Stop sharing. We're going to try again. Sometimes this share screen can give us a little bit of a hard time, but let's see what we can do. Because I really want everybody to be able to see this. And it may not be for us. I'm going to try one more time. And then you're going to have to look at the previews. And I do know that the Apollo, I believe, is going to be recording it, and you can see it on their site. You can also go to the Apollo Theater .org, and they have like that 30-second clip. I'm gonna try one more time. Let's see. This is such an incredible. No, it's not gonna work. Okay, so that just tells me that you're not supposed to see any of this ahead, but I do believe if you go to the Apollo Theater, and you'll be able to see that 30-second clip that has like just a little sneak preview of what's going to happen. So did you want to share anything else about Kwanzaa, how you're feeling, how you're preparing, and just what the full meaning is?
Yeah, for me, Kwanzaa is a holiday that is really intentional, unlike quite a few holidays that have become quite commercial. Kwanzaa, like each day of it, if we embrace the principles of it, then we can actually prepare ourselves for having an even better year ahead of us. If we truly look at the principles of Kwanzaa and decide how we'd like to incorporate them into our lives, I think they could be such a guiding light for us as a Black community. I think they're tenets that we can all stand on and embrace and grow with. So I am excited about Kwanzaa, and I'm excited for tomorrow and this opportunity for us to soar together as a community in spirits as we celebrate Kwanzaa, and all together, and in our personal and family lives as we continue to embrace these principles.
Okay, well, thank you for that. And we're looking forward. And I really want to salute Forces of Nature and Baba Abdel Salaam, and also our sister Mama, our everything, Diane Harvey Salaam, for deciding this year to choose elders who are doing business. I think it's very, very significant. It's really a big thing to stand on the stage of the Apollo Theater, which is sacred, and be able to share what we do. It's also very significant, as you said, in the tradition of the rites of passage, to be able to pass on to a young person and embody them and give them some marching orders, which is all of what Kwanzaa is about. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity. And I thank you very much, because I know it's been a long day and we both have to center ourselves, to stand on that sacred stage and deliver the message and impart it to the young people. But I'm just grateful. I'm going to put this up on YouTube, it'll be on Facebook, because I want everybody to know what is happening in the community. I value our community. I value the messages. I want us to be able to tell our own stories. And one of the things that Harlem Network is about is assuring that people are informed, and knowledge is power. And by having that knowledge, then they can engage and make changes for the positive. So we thank you for that. And happy Kwanzaa. Go to that website, listen to Dr. Karenga. And this is our wonderful day of Ujaama, which is our Cooperative Economics. So very, very befitting. And then we will prepare ourselves for our very next day of Kwanzaa, which is new purpose, and that's tomorrow. And you can't get more purpose and with intention. And I love what you said when you said that Kwanzaa is a holiday with intention. That's very, very significant. And Kwanzaa is 56 years old. 56 years old. Yeah. And it's kind of like, I have to do the research. I was trying to look it up, but I think that Hanukkah is like 52 years old. So that's very interesting. We got to fact check that, but that's a very interesting fact to it, in a sense that it is a Jewish holiday, but it's something that developed and evolved, so when people are saying, oh, Kwanzaa, that's an African-American holiday, but someone developed it. Well, of course, and it comes from first fruits harvest, which in many indigenous cultures, there are celebrations of harvest,
Mhm.
you know, so when we look at that, but when we look at it as a guide for living, and I'm just always bowled over. I think this is the third year, and we've interviewed Dr. Karenga because he doesn't only do Kwanzaa, you know, he is a head chair of an African Studies department. He's written several books. He's working on a book on Malcolm X, El Hajj Malik Shabazz as we speak, you know, so this man is a scholar, but just the fact that he's alive and he created a holiday. You know, you look at that, or you even look at Dr. Martin Luther King Day, and the fact that Stevie Wonder created a song to like push it along. You know, so just the fact that there's living history and living legacy is just, it's an inspiration to people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so let us know where we can get your great product. I love the packaging. And we'll see you tomorrow, but please let us know how we can get in touch and order them. Thank you.
Sure. So there are two ways that you can get in touch. So for Brooklyn Brewed Sorrel, you can go to brooklynbrewedsorrel.com. So that's Brooklyn, BREWEDSORREL.com. And then also, you've heard of me being a fashion designer. You can look up my name, NzingaKnight.com, and I think you'll be happily delighted by what you see.
Okay, so I'm looking forward. Can we still order clothing and fashion, or how is that?
Yes,
Okay.
and I will be wearing one of my gowns tomorrow.
Okay, I love it. I love it. I love it. This is Harlem Network News, and we are just grateful that we are going to be embarking on our third year. We encourage you to support us in this cooperative economics, in this Ujaama. You know, go to our website, donate to our Zelle, Harlem Network News at gmail.com, or Cash App us at the $ Harlem Network News. Very, very important. And once again, going right back to you, Sister Nzinga, where we have to create our own. And that's what we're doing. So we're grateful. Okay. And
thank you for having me.
Happy New Year. Okay. Happy New Year. Okay. Blessings, blessings, and happy Kwanzaa.
Happy Kwanzaa.
Thank you. And I will see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Okay. On that Apollo stage. Okay.
Alrighty. Bye.
Get some rest. Take care. Peace and blessings. Thank you.
Peace and blessings.